Introduction. Welcome to the United Nations Police English Language Assessment. This assessment consists of two parts, the reading comprehension and the audio comprehension. The instructions to both parts will be clearly explained before we commence. The use of any computer devices, microphones, books, external notes, or assistance from others is not permitted. We expect full compliance and good conduct during this test. Any candidates who fail to observe appropriate conduct will be excluded from the assessment process, and the incident will be communicated in writing to the authorities of the member state concerned and to the SAAT coordinator in the UN Police Division. Part 1 is the reading comprehension. You will be given a mission-related story with a question and answer sheet which contains 10 questions related to the key facts of the story. You will also be given a blank sheet of paper for your note-taking. Any notes that you take on the blank sheet you are allowed to keep throughout the exam. Read the text very carefully. You may write on the test as you wish. You will not be graded for any marking made on the test itself, only on the question and answer sheet. After reading the test, answer the 10 questions on the question and answer sheet. Be sure to include the entire key fact in your answer. It is not necessary to write in grammatically complete sentences. It is highly recommended that you use the blank sheet of paper for important notes from the reading. These notes will be essential for Part 2 of the assessment. You will be able to keep only the sheet of paper with your notes for the second part of the exam. Keep the test and question and answer sheet face down until you are asked to start. You will have 20 minutes to complete the reading comprehension. The instructor will indicate when these 20 minutes begin. The instructor will then announce when there are 5 remaining minutes and when there is 1 final minute. After the 20 minutes have passed, the instructor will collect the reading test and the question and answer sheet. You will keep the written notes that you made on the blank sheet of paper for the second part of the assessment. Please write your full name, your individual test serial number, and other details clearly in the space provided on the question and answer sheet you receive. Good luck. Introduction. This is the second section of the UNPOL Combined Language Assessment. It is divided into 2 parts. In the first part, you will hear one person describing the mission-related topic you have just read about in the reading comprehension. It will be introduced as the narrative. In the second part, you will hear a conversation between 2 people who are discussing the same mission-related topic. It will be introduced as the dialogue. Please be reminded that the use of any computer devices, microphones, books, external notes, or assistance from others is not permitted. Candidates who fail to observe appropriate conduct during this test will be excluded from the assessment process. Such actions will be duly noted and communicated in writing to the authorities of the member state concerned and to the SAAT coordinator in the UN Police Division. You will be given a report writing form and another blank sheet of paper. Take careful notes on the blank sheet of paper of both the narrative and the dialogue. Pay attention to the important facts and key information. You will hear the recording only one time. Once the narrative and dialogue are finished, you will be asked to use your notes from both the reading and the audio parts to write down your own complete police report. You will have 30 minutes to complete your police report. The instructor will indicate when these 30 minutes begin. The instructor will then announce when there are 5 minutes remaining and when there is one final minute. Please do not forget to write your full name, your individual test serial number, and other details clearly in the spaces provided on the report writing sheet. Good luck. Narrative.
Referring to the homicide case of Haitian male Raoul Cocotte, a 32-year-old male who died as a result of knife injuries inflicted by two unidentified men on 21 October 2010, the Haitian National Police Inspector Miranda Gaston, while visiting the victim's residence at 53 Dayton Street, took a statement from a neighbor, Jimmy Hodari, living on the floor above the victim's apartment. The neighbor knew the victim and his girlfriend. He stated that they had been living together for about a year and were going to get married. Raoul was a practicing attorney, and they were very financially stable. However, for the last 3 months the situation changed. Raoul looked quite depressed, and Jimmy could hear frequent quarrels between Raoul and Mia. One day, when Raoul was away for work, Mia was sitting outside the house and Jimmy joined her. In a conversation, he learned that they were facing serious financial problems, as Raoul had borrowed money from some criminals in the amount of $10,000 to rent a bigger apartment, and was not able to return it. They threatened to kill Raoul if he did not cover the debt. In addition, Raoul seemed to start taking narcotics, which made him depressed. Mia thought that those criminals had made Raoul drug addicted. They demanded that Raoul become a drug courier, and this would release him from his debt. Raoul disagreed, but he felt he did not have a choice. However, a couple of days before he was killed, Raoul said that he was expecting good money from a case he was dealing with, and believed this would resolve the problem. Regarding the day of the attack, Jimmy stated that approximately at 2000 hours, he heard a noise and loud voices coming from the second floor, directly under his apartment. He went out to the small stairway and saw the door to Raoul's apartment opened. He also noticed a black BMW vehicle standing near the apartment building entrance with the engine running. He managed to see one guy sitting in the driver's seat. According to Jimmy, the driver had a huge scar over his face and he was wearing black fingerless gloves. His face seemed familiar to Jimmy, who thought he might have seen him in the local bar called the Blue Lagoon, where Jimmy played pool with his friends a couple of times. Jimmy also noticed that the right rear light of the vehicle was broken. There were no registration plates on the car. In about 15 minutes, he saw two guys running out of the second floor and rushing down the stairs. He got scared and moved back to his flat. After the whole group left, he heard a woman crying downstairs. Dialogue.
Inspector Gaston. Good evening, sir. May I ask you several questions in regards to the incident which occurred in the apartment on the second floor?
Jimmy Hodari. Of course.
Do you know your neighbors living on the floor right under your apartment?
Yes, of course. They are a young couple. The man's name is Raoul Cocotte, and his girlfriend name is Mia Teto.
How long have they lived together?
As far as I remember, for about a year or so. They were going to get married.
What can you say about them? Did you notice anything unusual in their lives recently?
Raoul is a practicing attorney, and they were well off. However, for the last 3 months, the situation had changed. Raoul looked quite depressed, and he and Mia had frequent quarrels.
Do you know the reason?
One day, I chatted with Mia, and she told me that Raoul had borrowed money from some criminals in the amount of $10,000 to rent a bigger apartment, and it looked as if he was not able to return it. They threatened to kill Raoul if he did not cover the debt.
I see.
In addition, Raoul seemed to start taking narcotics, which made him depressed. Mia thought that those criminals had made Raoul drug addicted. They demanded that Raoul become their drug courier, guaranteeing him drugs and debt-free. Raoul did not agree, but it seems he did not have a choice. However, a couple of days before he was killed, Raoul said that he was expecting good money from a case he was dealing with, and this would resolve the problem.
What can you say of what happened in Raoul's apartment?
At about 2000 hours, I heard a noise and loud voices coming from the second floor right under my flat. I went out to the small stairway and saw the door to Raoul's apartment opened.
What else did you notice?
I also noticed a black BMW vehicle standing near the apartment house entrance with a running engine.
Was there anybody in the car?
I could see one guy sitting in the driver's seat, and he had a huge scar over his face. He kept his hands on the steering wheel, and I could see he was wearing black fingerless gloves. I don't know him, but I believe I saw this guy a couple of times in a bar called the Blue Lagoon.
Did you notice a registration plate of the vehicle?
There were no registration plates on the car, but I could see that the right rear lamp of the vehicle was broken.
Did you manage to see whom he was with?
Unfortunately not. When they left Raoul's apartment, I got scared and moved back into my apartment. A few seconds later, I only heard the sound of the car driving away, and soon after that, I heard Mia's crying.
Thank you very much for this very useful information. We may contact you again for some additional details.
No problems, Inspector.